Hi everyone, this is Miss McConnell from Me Junior High. I'm going to be going over today's lesson, 2.3, Day 1, and we're going to be talking about slope. So we're going to be identifying slope, giving a graph today using rise over run. For our warm-up, we're going to go over what we did yesterday. So it's finding the x and y intercepts of a line. So if you want to pause this video so you can try the warm-up on your own, then you can click play when you want to check your answer. So, I know we want to find our x and y intercepts. So I'm going to write my x-intercept here, draw a line, and then I'll find my y-intercept on the other side. So to find my x-intercept of 2x minus 4, y is equal to 8, I know I need to set y equal to 0. So here we have 2x minus 4, y, which is going to be 4 times 0, is equal to 8. Then we're left with 2x, 4 times 0 is 0, is equal to 8. Then when we divide each side by 2, we're left with x is equal to 4. And I write my final answer as 4, 0. That would be how I write my x-intercept. My x value here is always going to be a number, and my y value is always going to be 0. To find my y-intercept, I'm going to plug x is equal to 0 into my equation. So here I have 2 times 0, because we have 2x, minus 4y is equal to 8. 2 times 0 is 0. Negative 4y is equal to 8. Then we divide by negative 4, and we get y is equal to negative 2. And how I would write this would be 0, negative 2. My x value for my y-intercept is always 0, and then my y value is always the number where it crosses that y-axis. All right. So today we're going to be talking about slope. Slope is a value that's represented by m that indicates the steepness of a line. So slope, you're also going to see that represented as m. It is the change in the y-coordinate over the change in the x-coordinate. We're going to be using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We're going to do that tomorrow. What we're going to be looking at today is going to be rise over run from a graph. So we're going to utilize that rise over run. So positive slopes here, you can see the line rises from left to right. A negative slope is when the line falls from left to right. And if you have a horizontal line, that means you have a 0 slope. And if you have a vertical line, you have an undefined slope. So we're going to find the slope from a graph. We are on slide 5 here. So the slope that we're going to be using today is rise over run. So the first step is we want to locate the most bottom point. So the most bottom point here is right there. Then we need to apply rise over run to the next point. So I'm going to rise here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we rose 4, and then we are running here, 1, 2, and we're running 2 to the right, which makes this a positive value. So now, if I'm using rise over run, I'm going to plug in the values that we got here. So when we were rising, we got 4. And when we ran 2 to the right. Now, anytime I'm finding slope, I always need to simplify if it's a fraction. So 4 divided by 2, we're left with m is equal to 2. So I have a slope of 2 here. So my m value, again, m means slope. So m is equal to 2. All right, now we're going to find the slope of this graph here. So again, I'm going to use rise over run. So I'm going to select my bottommost point, which is right here. And then I'm going to apply rise over run. So I'm going to rise here, 1, 2, 3. So I rose 3. Now I need to run, and I'm running 1, 2. Now I'm running 2 to the left. Because it's 2 to the left, that represents a -2 value. So if I'm going up, that's a +3. If I'm going left 2, again, that's going to represent a -2. So my slope here is a -3/2. I cannot simplify this any further. So m is equal to -3/2. Now we're going to look at the slope of this graph here. So I'm going to start at, there's no bottommost point. I'll start on this point right here. So am I rising? So remember, we're looking at rise over run. Am I rising here? I am not. So I'm not going up or down, so I'm 0, but I am running here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots to the right, which does make this a +5. Now, m is equal to 0 divided by 5. I know that if 0 is in my numerator, it is okay, which makes this have a slope of 0. So anytime you have a horizontal line, you guys can see here, this is a horizontal line, you have a slope of 0. So horizontal line, a slope of 0. And you can see when we use rise over run, you get 0 divided by 5, and then you get that slope of 0. Here we're going to find the slope from this graph. So I'm going to pick my bottommost point, which is right here. Again, we are using the rise over run method. Am I rising? Yes, I am. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. So that is a +5. But am I running anywhere? No, I'm not. So I put that 0 in the denominator. If I have a 0 in my denominator, we can't do that. If you plugged 5 divided by 0 into your calculator, it would say error. So if you ever have a 0 in your denominator, and we're talking about slope, we call this undefined slope. So this slope is undefined. So anytime you have a vertical line, that means your slope is going to be undefined. It doesn't matter where it is on the graph. If it's a vertical line, the slope is undefined. So here for our vertical lines, vertical and horizontal lines, we have HOI, and the H just stands for horizontal. This 0 here means m is equal to 0, so our slope is equal to 0. And how you write this line would be y is equal to a number. If you get y is equal to a number, that means you are going to have a horizontal line and your slope is 0. Now you also have VUX here on the right side. So the V stands for vertical, because it's a vertical line. The U stands for m is equal to, so our slope is equal to undefined like we saw in that last problem. And how you would write an equation of this line would be x is equal to a number. So if you got x is equal to 4, you would have a vertical line at 4. and your slope would be undefined. And slide 10 here, we made it to our lesson wrap up. So our hot tips, when we're finding slope from a graph, we can use rise over run, locate the bottommost point, apply rise over run to the next point, repeat step 3, and then write your slope as a fraction and simplify.